I just grew up with my mom. My brother, and my sister. I was the oldest of three. My mom was my dad and my mom. You know, like I had uncles and my grandparents around me, but definitely was tough. You know, like you know, I was like the oldest of three, so I was always having to look out for my brother and my sister. Always trying to like defend them. Always trying, you know, trying to be that guy that's just like a good role model. I was never really trying to get into trouble. Like the less fights I could get into, as you know, when you're young in elementary. Certain people are trying to like pick fights or not fight, you know, like, you know, bullies, school bullies, and I was always trying to ignore that, trying to be like on a good path and stuff like that. You know, wasn't like the best like student, you know, but I was always like getting awards and stuff like that, you know, just trying to be a good role model. And she would be the one playing tag with the whole apartment. She would be the quarterback with the whole apartment, you know. She was like the mom, like she wanted to be there. She would be there like in after school programs, you know what I'm saying? Like she was always trying to be there, trying to encourage us to do things. And my mom did a lot for her life. She was like a pageantist, you know, like she was like Miss Los Angeles for like 5 years in a row. She was like, she came out in like many like Mexican movies. She was like a movie star in Mexico and stuff like that. So she had that in her, you know, she did a lot. So it's like, it encouraged me to be good, you know what I'm saying? Like she had to stop all her dreams and everything she worked so hard for to like raise me, my brother, and my sister. So kind of like, it made me like want to do things, like be active, blow up, you know what I'm saying? So I always known that like eventually I was gonna like do something that was gonna take me to top, be on TV type of situation. Haven't been there yet, but I know like that's my struggle, that's my mission, you know, just to make her proud. It's like, you were there and now I'm there for you, you know? Yeah, my mom was always like really like open-minded, you know. She always kind of like told us we could do anything we want. Like it didn't matter what we did as long as it was a positive and it wasn't bad, you know. Like we were dancing, like, you know, me and my brother were dancers for a long time, like breakdancing and stuff, and she always encouraged us. She would take, like when we were younger, like didn't have, you know what I'm saying, didn't drive or nothing, she would like take us to the breakdancing battles, even though it was like in LA. She would drive from LA to San Diego, like kind of like go to the park and just like we would go breakdance, and then after we would call and she would come pick us up. So it was kind of like that situation. She would always take us places, you know what I'm saying? It didn't matter where it was at, it didn't matter. She would take us, she would encourage us to be there. If that's what we wanted to do, that's what she wanted us to do. I mean, I grew up in different scenes. Like when I was younger, like I was really into like punk music and stuff, you know, had my mohawk and stuff. So different people looking at me as a different person, like it was always there, you know. Like I always had like piercings, big mohawk, like dressed differently, you know, ripped up pants, you know, really short shorts type of situations. And you know, like it was always not weird for me, even though it was weird to other people. So I kind of got used to being looked at as like, oh, he's different or strange, even if that's like on the outside, you know what I'm saying? Like it definitely like encouraged like even my dancing to be different. Like, it encouraged my jiu-jitsu to be different. So my fighting to be different. So it always kind of like pushed that you're not normal, you're kind of like outside the box. Me and my brother found it together. Our next door neighbor came up one day from like summer, and like he's like, look what I could do, and he could do like windmills, and we thought it was cool, and it was kind of like a challenge. Like he was always cocky about it, and we're like, forget that, like we're gonna be better than him, you know what I'm saying? And it's like me and my brother kind of started, and kind of like our next door neighbor, we kind of go back and forward, but we were like, it was a friendly, like kind of like, you know, a friendly like rivalry, but we're like next door neighbors, so it's like we're always trying to one up each other, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how we started breakdancing, and you know, ended up being really good at it eventually, you know. Like my next door neighbor ended up getting injured. He had a hernia, so he had to stop, but me and my brother kept on going with it and stuff, and like 14, 15 years later, we're still doing it. And breakdancing, like it gets really close, really personal, really intense, and really emotional. So sometimes people start touching, and you know, like I never like getting bullied, you know, like, and people always, I felt like even in breakdancing, they would try to be the bully. Like they try to like make you back down in a way, and it's like they would even get to the point of like pushing or touching, and that's when they would turn around, and it's like once you push or touch somebody, the next thing that's gonna come along is a punch, you know what I'm saying? I'm not one to like, push me, I'll push you back, push me, I'll push you back until somebody break us up. But it's like, you push me or touch me, or somebody from my team, which is my family, the freak show, like I'm swinging, you know what I'm saying? It's like I get really emotional when you touch somebody that's that close to me. So it's like, that's how fights would come along. Like somebody would touch us, and it's like, we were never trying to like start fights, we were always ending them though, you know what I'm saying? So it would be in that situation. But like, other than that, like, I mean, I think we got in a couple of fights in breakdancing, but I'm one not to like fighting, like street fighting, you know, like it was something that I was never really wanted to do. Like I was kind of always like bigger, taller wise, so it's like I hate fighting. Like it was just never my thing. I mean, I caught on to it kind of later, you know, like when it was like, I wasn't like, oh, the first UFC, I watched it. Like I didn't, you know, like I probably watched like maybe like 2 or 3 fights on that card, you know, like I've never watched it. I go back and I look at it just because I'm, you know, nerdy about it, but I've never really like, never got onto it. I got into it like kind of like late, so I really liked it though, you know, like it made me a fan and it made me kind of watch more and more and more, but I never like thought of myself being an MMA fighter or nothing. Like I never thought I would do jiu-jitsu. I never thought I would get in the cage. I always be like, but I was always a tough guy on the couch, you know, like, man, if I was there, I would do this. If I was there, I would get out of that arm bar, you know, not knowing how hard it really is.
Did your brother start training and then he told you about it? How did it come about, and what was your reaction when you started training?
Jiu-jitsu, I started training. I seen him at Gracie Nationals about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and in January it'll be 3 years that I seen him, and he actually like was 2-3 months into jiu-jitsu, and he went there in the blue belt division because they didn't have a white belt division at the time, and he submitted everybody in the division, and he was only a white belt training for 3 months, submitted like all the blue belts, and I'm like, man, that is so badass. And after that I'm like, you know, since we're so competitive, it made me want to compete as well. And I definitely got humbled, you know, like the first day I went into the gym, the guy that was nearest to my size was like a blue belt, and I just got mopped up and down, and I hated it, you know, I hated it so much. But it sucked because at the time I was living in LA, so San Diego was too far from me, so I would only go there once a week. And then it started getting hard because it's like I wasn't learning fast enough, but then I would go once a week and take my girlfriend, and then we would go back home and we would drill that same situation over and over until we would go back to the gym. So it would be one move for a whole week. Then we would go back to the gym, learn a new move. So it was kind of, even though I was at home, just me and my girlfriend, I would train like 2-3 hours a day. You would train that same move, drill it. And it became like, and that's even the way I teach now. Like the way I teach is I drill. One move, the whole class, you know what I'm saying? People get frustrated and stuff, but man, you start seeing the difference of how easy you get that move now, you know what I'm saying? And that was definitely like, it was hard, you know what I'm saying? Just because like I said, I lived so far, didn't have a lot of training partners, didn't know nobody in the jiu-jitsu game. So I would come down here and just, that made me fall in love with it, you know, just wanted to go back. I wanted to go back. I didn't know what it was. Maybe it was the competitive aspect for it or just being humbled, but I definitely wanted to go back every week, that same day. It was like on a Thursday, and we'd go back every week. And, you know, it was super fun. It made it fun. I got my purple belt in like 1.5 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was super like, I knew I was gonna fight, I had to fight, but the reason I got into fighting was because I wanted to prove that like 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, I wanted to challenge 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu to the world, you know what I'm saying? Like I was watching Jiu-Jitsu and I would see all these guys that usually do gi and stuff, and they would get mopped up, and I hated it. I hated that feeling, you know. I would see like all these guys like that are like black belts get mopped up by these like MMA fighters or like these wrestlers, and I freaking hated it. Or like a blue belt mop up a black belt, and I was like, how the hell is that happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I wanted to see if it was because of the fact that no gi jiu-jitsu or gi jiu-jitsu, and I didn't understand. Like, you know, like still to this day, like as much as we get criticized for it, I've never done gi. You know what I'm saying? Like I competed in gi once. Never trained in gi, and I won first place as a purple belt, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, wow, that's crazy, you know what I'm saying? But I just used my no-gi, you know what I'm saying? And I used my 10 planets moves, and it made sense that, like, I went in there, never even in a boxing class. Like, I never took in any boxing, never took in anything. I sparred once before my fight just to know how it is to get punched in the face. And I won like in 1.5 minutes, you know, 1 minute and 30 seconds. I ended up rear naked choking the guy, you know what I'm saying? And I used only jiu-jitsu. I think I threw like 3 punches or something, but it was ground and pound. Like he punched, I blocked, double unders, took him down, and that was a wrap, to be honest. And it definitely proved that jiu-jitsu could defeat some MMA fighters just by itself, you know what I'm saying? And then that made me realize that I needed more than just jiu-jitsu, you know. But definitely at first, that was my mission, to show that 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu could be there. It could be there to show that 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu is there. You know what I'm saying? And that was my mission. And it was really, I wanted to show what Eddie Bravo had. You know what I'm saying? Like what his mindset was like. And I think I'm doing a really good job of it. My breakdancing, like we've been in crowds that are like 10,000, you know what I'm saying, people, like in a crowd, like crazy crowds, you know, in like Europe and like Canada. So I've been there, I've been in front of big, but you know what I'm saying, like it's like little mistakes in breakdancing could ruin a whole battle. Just you messing up once, like it's over, you know what I'm saying? In jiu-jitsu, you could mess up once and keep on going from it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, that didn't work. You could test yourself in MMA. Like, you could be like, oh, that didn't work. I'm gonna try this then. I'm gonna try this. Oh, he slipped this? I'm not gonna throw that no more. You know, so you know, it was kind of like the same challenge in a way, but I could do more mistakes, you know? Like, so I wasn't so scared of doing it. Like, I was like really like confident in the back. Like, I trained my heart out, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally I trained jiu-jitsu for my first fight. Just train, jiu-jitsu. And I was so confident in my jiu-jitsu that there was no way I was gonna be stopped, you know? And ended up calling Eddie Bravo, and I told him if he could be down there, and he went, you know, like Eddie Bravo went to my first amateur fight, and he doesn't go to every fight, you know, but it was a big deal to me. I'm like, you know, the reason I do jiu-jitsu or MMA is to show that his jiu-jitsu works. So I had to do a good job, you know, like I had to kill it, you know, and I did. And, you know, I was super happy, and it changed my whole life, you know, like it changed even the way I eat, you know, like I think I did the fight at a catch weight like 80 or something like that. And now like I walk around like 85 and I fight at 170, like something that I never thought I could be, you know, like when I first started, I was like 215, never thought I could be 170. Now I'm like best shape of my life, and it's just incredible, you know. Now I fight because, you know, I fell in love with it. Now it's like everything. I live for MMA now, you know what I'm saying? Like I still dance, I still do everything, but now it's like I can make a career out of this, you know. It became to the point that it's like I had so much love for jiu-jitsu, and that love for jiu-jitsu became love for jiu-jitsu and MMA. Now it's like I can't stop. Like I started striking. I started, you know what I'm saying? I love striking. I love the clinch. I love dirty boxing. You know, like I love all that, and it was something that I never thought I could love this much. You know, like I love this as much as I love dancing. So it's really weird that I never thought I could love anything as much as I love dancing. You know, and yeah, now I have 3 loves now, you know? Dude, I love training so much, you know, that's the first fight, you know, like you can't get into a fight if you're not training. So it's not, if you're not training, you can't fight. So it's like, even if people do love just like, oh, I love the fight of it, what about your training? Like if you don't have the love for that, your fight's not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? It has to be you have to have some sort of love for your fight, I feel like, you know, and I do. I love training. I love going to the gym. I love waking up early. You know, some of my classes I have to teach at 6 a.m. and I love teaching. I love people training, and I train with them, you know, and I love being in the front line of my team, you know, like I love that my students, I'm in front of them. I'm still competing, you know what I'm saying? I'm competing in breakdancing, I'm competing in jiu-jitsu, and I'm competing in MMA, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I love the people right behind me, competing right after me or right before me, and just me like having no voice and like still fighting right after, you know, like I have some students now that are even MMA fighters, and it's just kind of like, wow, you know what I'm saying? That's so cool. Like, I just never thought it could be that way. Win, lose, or draw, you know, I do it because I love it, you know what I'm saying? Of course, like, I'm not trying to lose, but I definitely do it because I love it. And whether I lose or win, like, I have no pressure on me ever, you know, like, I do this because I love it so much, and I'm gonna keep on pushing the love of it. And yeah, I never feel pressure to lose or win, you know, like, I just want to make, you know, I do want to make everybody proud and stuff like that, but if I lost, like, I know they'll still be proud because they know I train my heart out.
What's MMA to you?
You know, it's mixed martial arts, so it's an art. You know what I'm saying? It's an art of like different cultures, different ethnicities, it's so much, you know, different body types, different builds. It's an art, you know? It's all combined into one thing, you know? And it's like, is this better? Is this better? Is this better? But now it's like everything's so mixed up that it's just becoming one thing, you know? And that's mixed martial arts. And like I said, it's such a powerful sport now, you know? And it's if you can't see it, if you want to see it as barbaric, if you want to see it as like, oh, they're just knocking each other out, don't look at it as that. Look at it as the sport of it, the art of it. I definitely go into character, which is the boogeyman, you know what I'm saying? Like I would shake somebody's hand before the fight, but not while we're in the cage. In the cage, it's like, there's 2 other men in there. One of them's to stop it, and one of them's for me to beat. That's how I take it, you know what I'm saying? I don't see it any way else. It's like, that's the guy I'm gonna beat. That's the guy I trained so hard for. That's the guy I couldn't eat for. That's the guy, everything, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's my mentality in there. And it's like the boogeyman versus that guy. It's not Richie Boogeyman Martinez. It's boogeyman versus that one man. You know what I'm saying? It's man versus man. And it's like, let's see how hard you train your arts. Let's see how hard I train my arts. Like I said before, whether I win or lose, I won't be disappointed because I know I always train my heart out. You know, and I know it was his best. His day was better than mine that day, but I definitely look at it that way. Like, it's me versus that man, and it's like not me no more. It's the boogeyman. You know, I still enjoy all the same stuff. You know, like I like going out dancing. I like taking my girls out to the movies. Like hanging out with my brother. Like me and my brother are like best friends. You know, like still to this day. You know, dance together, go out together, fight together, you know, like he's always cornered me in every fight I've had, and he's always gonna corner me in every fight I will ever have, you know. So it's kind of cool, like, you know, we created another bond.
Now, how much do you think training and fighting, has it changed you at all? Has it been a positive thing?
It's been a positive thing. Now it became my job. You know, I get to teach stuff when before I used to work at like warehouses and stuff like that. Now I'm a teacher, you know what I'm saying? Now I get money that way. Now it makes it funner. I could be at the gym all day, but I'm also making some sort of money, you know what I'm saying? Like, when before it's like, I would be at work for like 8 hours and then go home, be too tired, you know what I'm saying, get lazy, not want to go to the gym. Now I actually teach. Now it's actually just, I have to learn more, you know what I'm saying, for I could teach more. So it definitely changed my life in that aspect, you know, and like I said, I'm in better shape. You know, like, I have more friends now, you know what I'm saying, than I've ever had before. I've always had a lot of friends, but now I have way too many friends. I love them all, but I have too many of you guys. I see people growing as people, you know, like I said, like some of the guys, it's like their dream was to do MMA. Like now they're actually doing MMA, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, damn, people's dreams are, because of my teachings, it's like I'm helping them chase their dream, you know? And it's like exactly how, like, you know, my brother, Ryan, Eddie, and now Manolo, you know, it's like they taught me so much, and it's like now I see what they did to me, you know what I'm saying? It's like what helped me. It's like I see like how they taught me or whatever, and what they're doing. It's like now that's what I'm doing to people, you know. And it's like I could appreciate my coaches more now, and appreciate them as people, as friends. You know, my biggest accomplishment, the thing that I'm proud of the most, is the freak show. You know, like my other is like getting my brown belt, probably. You know, other than the freak show, it'll be my brown belt, which I got fairly fast. I got my brown belt in 2.5 years, you know what I'm saying, which I'm one of the fastest guys in 10 Planet, but it just shows how hard I worked, you know. That's why it really means a lot to me, because I worked my heart out for it, like I said, you know. And after that, it'll be my Tough Enough title, you know, which was the amateur title, but it was against a really tough opponent, which was Jeff Roman, which was one of the top ranked in the United States. He was like said to be like the number 170 in the United States at the time as an amateur, and I ended up being the dark horse, and I ended up winning by guillotine or marcellatine in the 3rd round. And that definitely was a big accomplishment, just because a lot of people didn't believe me I could do it. People would message me, teammates of mine would message me and tell me that I was gonna win, sadly, and I ended up winning, you know, and shut a lot of people up, and showed how much heart I have, for sure. Look out for me, you know, like I'm definitely like reaching to the top. As you know, I know a lot of people say that, but I have nothing stopping me. I'm gonna keep on pushing forward, whether it's in, you know, one of the top 5 organizations in the world. I will be there. I will be in the top organizations, and I just want to give a shout out to all my coaches, you know, Eddie Bravo, Ryan Foran, Giovanni Martinez, Manolo Hurricane, you know, Team Hurricane Awesome. And yeah, you know, give out shout out to all my teams, which is the Freak Show, 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu, San Diego Combat Academy, and Team Hurricane Awesome. You know, I couldn't do it without you guys. Thanks to all my teammates. And yeah, man, freaks don't sleep.